Hey guys, welcome to Thursday night with Unbiased Rugby. I've just prepared my team for the Rugby World Cup. My complete team, that's who I'm completely happy with. I had set my rules to state that I'd only choose players that made it through to the quarterfinals, but there was one player that I felt deserved to be in the team, and from the quarters, from the pool stages, so I've included them. Also, I may change the time of the show at some point. I just want to get hold of Good for the Game, and because I know my show may conflict with his, so I just want to confirm what time's good for him and what time's good for me, and then we both can have live shows, because this is a really interesting show about betting and things like that. And, I don't really want to step on any toes. And so, I'll just find the right kind of time that works for him and for me. But, I'm just going to go through some of the news. Hey, Joe, welcome to the show. Joe, it might be a pretty biased show then. I'm going to be completely honest. No, I haven't just chosen South Africans. I've tried to think of it in a real open kind of way. Yes, it's made up of South Africans, lots of English, lots of New Zealanders, but I'll go through the team shortly. But I'm just going to go through some of the news this week. So first things first, we've got Francois Louw and Tendai Matereira retiring from international rugby. I think it's a real big blow for South African rugby. I think the Beast has been an absolute stalwart for South African rugby. He's got 117 caps. He's got 2 tries, 160 Super Rugby appearances, one Rugby World Cup title, one Castle, one Rugby Championship title, one Tri-Nations, a British and Lions Tour win victory, and 3 Currie Cup victories. That's pretty impressive for a prop forward, especially Tendai. And it's an absolute gentleman, great servant of South African rugby and rugby in general. But Joe, I'm actually wearing this shirt just for you. Just so, I'm going to get through the series debacle. Hey, Martin Bach, welcome to the show. Next, we got Brian O'Gara. I was absolutely shocked what he was saying. He was saying, the coach in me is saying, essentially, do bend the rules and become cynical and make them uncontestable scrums. It's basically saying, would you do whatever you felt? Would you do anything to win a game, even cheat? Hey, Ultimate Sharpshooter. Hey, Mr. Rugby fan. Welcome to the show. Hey, Mark. So I agree. Not going to be the same with that Beast, but I just saw that and I thought, wow, that just seems there's that saying. It's just not cricket, and I was kind of shocked. Bend the rules just to have uncontested scrums. It just seemed, I don't know. It just seems it's absolutely ludicrous, because when we start thinking things like that, then we really, then there's lots of things that possibly could happen. Let's go to the next one. The other big news, obviously, Rugby Australia complete review. They're interviewing all the players. They've got some ex-test cricketer who's going to be doing the review board. Look, I've honestly felt that Australian rugby, they have the players. No, not that they have the players. It's just they have to compete against quite a few other codes, especially rugby league, Aussie rules. There's quite a few codes that are out there. It's just, I think it's a marketing thing, and I think they really need to start getting the young guns in and starting to blood them in a lot younger and trying to get them into the system, because the one thing I can say about the Australian rugby side is it's quite old and there's very little young blood coming through. Yeah, there's that one young guy that's come through, but unlike other sides that have 3 or 4 young guys, their under 20s are doing really well. It's just Australia just aren't doing well. So but I think it's a good idea to have a review. I think they need a real turnaround strategy. It's going to take at least 2 to 4 years and maybe 6 to 8 years to start getting your grassroots 100%. Next big news item. Here we get to the big one. I was quite shocked when I saw this. Obviously, Saracens being deducted 35 points. I agree with the Ultimate Sharpshooter. I just think they have to sort out their grassroots level, and their local competition isn't that great. It's not unlike Currie Cup and Mitre 10, which is they really are breeding grounds for great rugby. I just don't see the same coming from Australia. So Saracens being deducted 35 points and a £5 million fine. Now, the rules state that you get fined 50p for every pound overspent. So Saracens in the last 3 years have spent £10 million more than their salary cap. And their salary cap £7 million, I think it is. So they've essentially spent 3.5 or £3.3 million over every single year. And that is absolutely ludicrous. It just goes to you're not playing on the same level playing field. South Africa, we have I think our caps now are, I can't remember if it's 60 million rand, 60 million rand, which equates to, what's that, 3 million pounds, 4 million pounds. So they say they're not going to get rid of all their players, but yeah, I see them. If 35 points, that's a huge big. If that's how many? That's 9 games. That's 9 games that you've essentially lost. So yeah, it's 3 million. It's absolutely ludicrous, because when I saw the 50p for £1 overspent, it just goes to show how much they actually have overspent. I don't know. That's on top of the grants and exceptions. Yeah, because I know that there's rules for a marquee player, which I like. I like the fact of having one marquee player. I think that's brilliant. But that is downright absolute cheating. I'm sorry to say, it's just paying money to solve a problem. And now Saracens did win the European Championship last year. And I'm sorry if they're spending that kind of money, because if you think about the players there, Jamie George, Itoji, Carl Sinclair plays for Harlequins, Liam Williams. It's absolutely ludicrous. I know there's £7 million and another £2 million for development players and stuff like that. But I'm sorry, that is cheating, plain and simple. I'm sorry to say. I like Saracens. One of my clients, Tiki Tonga, is in Durban. I do their coffee shop, do all the development and stuff for an app for their shop. So yeah, I think it's cheating, and that's just the way it is. Yes, it would be. It would be exactly the same as the Crusaders. And the scariest thing is, like, if the Crusaders were doing that, they would be out of the competition. If we even looked at schoolboy rugby, there's, I think it's Paul Gymnasium. One of the Poles were basically also going to be kicked out because they were obviously poaching all players from other places. So yeah, this is the kind of thing that needs to be stamped out in rugby drastically. Next thing, we have Eddie Jones staying on in England. I think it's a good call. I still think he's an exceptional coach. I think he's the right coach for them to go forward. I think he's got a great rugby brain. And I think watch this space. If England have the same kind of coaching structure, they can keep John Mitchell. They see them in 4 years' time. If they carry on the trajectory they are at, they're going to be absolutely phenomenal. So yeah, I think it's a good call. The ultimate shot of Crusaders could do that, but they'd still not be as great as Leinster. Oh, jeepers, Joe. I don't know. That's the ultimate question. Who's the best, North versus South? And I was, I don't know. I don't know. It's a big call, that one. But yeah, I think it's great to keep Eddie on board. My personal opinion. Next one. Now, what the F are Sanzar actually pulling off here? I'm sorry to say, now they're looking at Japan joining the Six Nations. I don't know if that's just flash in the pan, because then what happens to Italy? Do they just go out? The whole reason why the Six Nations is such a great competition is that everyone's really, really close. It's only in the Southern Hemisphere that we have to travel halfway around the world to have a rugby game. So yeah, I don't think that's going to happen. But yeah, why haven't Sanzar got Japan involved? It's where the money is for us. I'm going to be completely honest. They've got the money. Everything was primed for them to join the Rugby Championship. But yeah, let's just see. I think there might just be a bit of fake news. But yeah, I actually cannot understand why Sanzar haven't actually stepped up and actually got Japan involved. But then we are trying to decide what would we call Sanzar then? Would we call Sanzarji, so I don't know, something like that. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, look, I understand the home and away isn't done it, but I like the fact that there's no home and away in the Six Nations. I think it makes a much interesting competition, uh, and that's what I was hoping that we could. The Rugby Championship would change. We'd get in a team like Fiji and Japan, and then we wouldn't have a home and away. It's just a once-off, and you just luck of the draw if you get to play New Zealand or at home, or if you get to play them in New Zealand land. Next part, let's go look at the next period of the news. So we've got New Zealand and South Africa looking for new coaches. I don't know what's going to happen. There's been a lot of names being spoken about in South Africa. Jacques Niebuhr being probably a prime candidate to take over. New Zealand, I think they had like 26 people. I've got 26 people applying. I think there's a lot of openings in that thing. Sanzarja, yeah, that's it, Mr. Rugby fan. Sans jar. Yeah, actually, no, Joe. It's kind of strange, but I think the TV rights that Japan could bring in would probably equal most of the rights that I know in the Southern Hemisphere. I know, if I could be mistaken, but I think South Africa contribute the most from the TV deals because we have the bigger population. So. But yeah, I think Japan's got a much bigger population than South Africa, and I think it could be. I think Jumanji. Oh, Joe, geez, you make me laugh. So yeah, so South Africa and New Zealand looking for head coach. So yeah, I think South Africa do contribute quite substantially to the thing, and it would be great if the contribution from South Africa could be dropped and. The Japanese contribution, because obviously Fiji can't bring much to the party in funds wise, and the money would basically be going to them. But yeah, it's time for us to. It's yeah. See, the thing is with Joe, the reason why the New Zealanders can call the shots is that their games command the most audiences, and obviously their games fill up the stadiums. A game against the All Blacks fills out a stadium. A game against Argentina doesn't. It's just logic, you know. Jacques Niebuhr to take over SA. Jamie and Ian Foster should take over NZ. Yeah, look, I think it's going to be Ian Foster. I think the New Zealand system is built that way, that they have great succession planning. They've been planning this for a while. Maybe they didn't have such a great World Cup, but they still came third. So I think they're still a great nation. So I think they're going to probably go with Ian Foster. Last part. And sorry for you, Joe. Damon de Allende and Achilles Neyman on their way to Munster. I'm terribly sad. Achilles Neyman plays for the Bulls, and he's going. Luat de Jager is leaving the Bulls. I don't know. I think there's going to be no one left in Pretoria to play for the Bulls. And then Damon de Allende leaving the Stormers. Looking at the way that Van Graan coaches, I think he's a more forward-dominated kind of coach. So it's a more fits in with the Munster kind of role, CJ Stander, all those kind of players. So I see Munster doing fairly well. I just hope they've actually got an attack coach this year, because I don't think Van Graan's very good as an attack coach. And I'm hoping that they've got someone a bit more decent on attack, and they can obviously start using Damon de Allende in the right way. Where's Morné Steyn going? Yeah, Morné Steyn is coming, but yeah, let's come on. It's one player, and how many players have we lost? I'm trying to think of the lock that's going to replace him. What's the replacement for Achilles Neyman and Luat de Jager at the Bulls? Sorry guys, I'm going to be talking about my team for a little bit there. But yeah, because now we're all getting into our tribalism and everything. So yeah, I don't know what's going to happen. I really don't know. The Bulls used to have such a great system of bringing in the young players. Great system of stealing the players from the Cheetahs. But yeah, I don't know what's going to happen, because I'm not sure if their coach is up to snuff, we'll see what happens. But yeah, it's something I'm going to have to say. I've been going through a lot of channels lately. I'm going to say this out straight. There's one guy that's on Off the Ball that I've decided that I'm going to probably stop. I'm going to stop watching his show. I try watch quite a few shows during the week, and there's quite a few that I try watch. Sorry, guys, let me just turn it off. And but there's one show on a Monday. This guy, and I'm going to stop watching Off the Ball. I've decided that I'm going to watch the other shows, but I'm not going to watch that one. It talks about the steroids and stuff and the epidemic of drugs in South African rugby. And they were basically saying because one person was on drugs, then the assumption is that they're all on drugs, and that just drove me a little crazy. But I'm not saying it isn't a problem, and it's something that needs to be addressed at school level, and I'm hoping that the country can sort that out. The other thing I want to say is, listen to Box supporters out there. I've been going through some of the channels, and some of the comments that you guys are really putting up there are quite derogatory. You just got to remember, always be nice to the people while you're going up, because you may have to go past them when you're going down. And, even if we've won the World Cup, we're still not the best team in the world. We have a great moment, yes, at the moment. And but yeah, don't have a big head. People don't enjoy it. I don't enjoy it, and a bit of humility it goes a long way, and it keeps people watching the game and stuff like that. So try just keep it nice, and yes, it's great that we won, but we don't have to tell the whole world and rub it in their faces. That's all I have to say about that. So yeah. Now we get to the most important part. This is why I'm having the show tonight. I'm going to be doing my team of the tournament. Yes, not all of them are going to be everyone's choices. I was going through a lot of other pundits who they chose their team. If you went to a South African channel, then it'd be mostly South Africans. If you went to New Zealand, mostly New Zealand. England, mostly England. So yeah, I'm trying to actually do a cross section of all the teams. So here we go. Unsub. Oh, shit. Here we go. This is my team. Sorry, there, Joe. I had 7 Springboks. I had to do it. I chose the Springboks. They are my team. I may have got rid of one biased on Rugby Stream. Yeah, I can't help myself. But I've tried to look at it a little bit. I've got 7 Springboks. I've got 4 English. I've got 1 Fijian, 4 All Blacks, 2 Wales players, 1 Irish player, 1 Wallabies player, 2 Japanese player, and 1 French player. So yes, maybe I could have chosen fewer South Africans, but yeah, sorry for that. Yeah, there is one, and it is probably one of my, Joe, there is one South African, one Irish person. I'm sure you know who it is. I think he's going to be an absolute rock star for Ireland in the future, and I see him probably being captain one day. Probably my absolute favourite player. So yeah, let me go through my team. Let me go here. I'm just going to go grab it here. So let's go. First, we go do the forwards. So I did the forwards. I've obviously gone with Tenda Matariera. I think he had an absolutely exceptional World Cup. I thought he really stepped up. A great way to end his career. For me, he was the best loose head prop by a long shot. I know there were quite a few options spoken about. I know with Makavinapola, I just don't think he was on that much form. But yeah, Tenda Matariera, my loose head prop for the World Cup. Next, I've gone with Jamie George at 2. Even though he had that one mess up throw in the New Zealand game, I thought he had an exceptional World Cup. I think he is an absolute beast of a player. I think he's probably an all-round hooker, number 2. I see him as like he's a combination between Cody Taylor is one of my favourite props, number twos, and Dane Coles. So it's like he's in between the two of them, and I think Jamie George is going to be an absolute cornerstone of the English pack for years to come. My other top player at Tate prop was Carl Sinclair. The props roles have changed over these last couple of years, and they've obviously become a little bit more mobile. So I just think Carl Sinclair had an exceptional tight. Yeah, there was Frans Malherbe. There was a few other players that stepped up, but yeah, I couldn't go past Carl Sinclair. I thought he was an absolute exceptional player. Next, going to the second row, I've gone with two absolutely exceptional. If I did choose my top 5 forwards in the world, I know I say that almost every week, but Mario Itoje and James Ryan would be in that list. I think though Mario Itoje is an absolute exceptional rugby player. He's smart. He knows when to slow down the game. He's physical. He's great in the line-out. For me, he's an all-round rugby player. And James Ryan fits exactly the same mold. For me, by far the best Irish player in this World Cup. I still thought it was a pretty mobile pack, that one. The ultimate sharpshooter, but yeah, Mario Itoje, James Ryan, exceptional. South Africa has great depth. We've got Eben Lewitt, Archie Snyman, Franco Mostert. We've got some great depth, but I'm sorry, Mario Itoje and James Ryan are, for me, the best locks currently playing. And that's saying a lot with Brody Retallick and Sam Whitelock, and there's amazing players out there. But yeah, for me, those two, they top the scales. Yeah, I was thinking about this for a while. A lot of teams have gone into this World Cup with 2 open sides. I don't like it. Yes, I think Sam Underhill and Tom Curry are. Yeah. That's what makes us. That's what makes this channel so great. That's what makes rugby so great. You can have your opinion. You can say it right there, and you can say, "Listen, who do you think would be a better?" Bongi was also another choice for me, but I think I went for the Japanese hooker as my off the bench. But yeah, my back 3. I'm not a big fan of 2 open sides playing 2 open sides. I don't think. Most of the teams played Sam Underhill, Curry, Ardie Savea, Sam Cane, then Hooper and Pocock. So a lot of teams are playing at 2 open sides, but I'm sorry to say I have to have a big blindside flanker. And for me, there is no better blindside flanker than Pieter-Steph du Toit. I know he plays number 7, but if you look at the rest of the world, he would play at number 6 of the rest of the world. And for me, he is the best blindside flanker currently playing. World Player of the Year, well deserved. So yeah, I could not. I was toying with putting Sam Underhill and all of that, but then I thought back. My rule states you have a blindside flanker and an open side flanker, and that's how I like it. My open side flanker, I've gone with Ardie Savea. I'm sorry, guys. I think that the guy's absolutely exceptional. I think he tackles. He's got such a great leg drive. He's probably an all-round kind of player. It's quite strange to only have one New Zealander as in the forward pack. But yeah, I've gone with Ardie Savea as my open side. And then I couldn't go past Dwayne Vermeulen. I thought he was the best number 8 that currently playing. And that's saying a lot. You had Parisi, who didn't have such a great tournament. Kieran Reid that's Kieran Reid. CJ Stander, I thought, was okay on defence, but not that so great on attack. So yeah, I think so too, Monenbach. I like this pack. I think it's mobile enough. I think it's got everything. It ticks every single box. For me, it ticks it all. Great line-out options, great in the loose, and that's a really, really good technical tight head prop and a really, really attacking loose head. So yeah, for me, that's my forward pack. You'll see my bench a bit later. I haven't gone with a 6-2 split on my bench. I've gone with a traditional 5-3, but we'll come back to that. Now we get to, I think this is where people are, this is where we could go. That could be all over the place, what's going to happen in the back row. But shall we go for the back row? I'm sorry, guys. I think Aaron Smith had an absolutely exceptional World Cup. That one game that he played against Ireland, I've never seen a fly off play like that ever. Not a scrum off play like that, and I just think he is by far the best nine currently playing. Yes, everyone talks about Faf and they talk about lots of other players, but Aaron Smith, he's the full package. I don't think any of I was going to go with forward. I was thinking of playing forward. But then I started looking at some of the stats, and I saw 100 Pollard scored the most points, not most conversions, most penalties. So yeah, I don't think he had such a great tournament, but I don't think any of the 10s had such a great tournament. I want to be honest. Richie Mo'unga, I didn't think had a great tournament. I didn't think they had up and down games. I don't know if you guys agree on that. Yeah, I also agree. I thought Gareth Davies had a great tournament. But yeah, for me, the 9-10, the halfback pairing, Aaron Smith, 100 Pollard, I think you can't go wrong with that. Gone with the centre pairing? No, it was a big call that, Roberto. I really had to look at it quite holistically. And yes, I thought he had a great tournament, but yeah, he was injured for some of the games. He didn't play all the games. But yeah, I've actually, coming back to ALB, Mr. Rugby fan, I have always thought that ALB is the best off-the-bench player ever. Yes, he did step up, he did put up his hand to actually, he was the first choice thing, but I've always liked Ryan Crotty. I always think Ryan Crotty is a much better 12. And I've always liked ALB coming off the bench. But yeah, I've gone with Damon De Allende at inside centre and Samu Kerevi as outside centre. I know that it's pretty interchangeable. Samu Kerevi can also play at 12. But yeah, I just think fantasy centre. The reason why I've gone with Josh Adams, you can't go past the person who scored the most tries. I'm sorry, at the end of the day, your wingers are there to score tries. And let's be completely honest, you can't go past Josh Adams. He scored 7 tries this game. Yes, it is a big call, Morris. But yeah, I couldn't go past Josh Adams. Yeah. Yes, I think so. Ultimate sharpshooter. If BB had played 10, he would have been at fullback. Who would have been at fullback in this team? Ooh. Wow. Jeepers, now you're asking me a question there. Wow. I'm going to think about that, Ultimate. I'm going to think about that right now. I thought Lukhanyo Am had an exceptional World Cup, but I'm sorry, Samu Kerevi, for me, is an absolute genius when it comes to the midfield. I think he is absolutely amazing. Those two centres are, for me, the absolute best. Like I said, I've gone with Josh Adams on the one wing. Can't go past top try scorer. That's what your wings are there for. Beauden Barrett, I'm sorry to say, best 15 currently playing. I think that position is going to be his going forward. Gives him so much more space. The guy's absolutely amazing when at the back. I'd like to see what happens when Mackenzie comes back. I wonder if they're going to change the dynamic out, because Mackenzie plays much better at 15 than he does at 10. So I wonder if Beauden Barrett will start going back. Depends on how well Richie Mo'unga does. But where do you put Damien Mackenzie? I honestly feel they absolutely missed him this World Cup. Damien Mackenzie is an absolutely exceptional player. And then the only player I've chosen not from the quarters, Semi Radradra from Fiji. Those games that we saw him play, I'm sorry, that guy is phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. And if Fiji could just get a little bit more money from World Rugby or wherever, and they can actually keep some of their players and have them training together, they could be an absolute world power. I know their sevens do quite well because it's a little bit smaller to manage, but yeah. So yes, Semi. Okay, now we're going to go through to my bench. Okay, so this is my bench. A little bit different. I've gone for Shotohori at the number 2. I thought he had an exceptional tournament. You know, the Japanese and Kito Inagaki. I'm very bad at pronunciation. So yeah, I just thought they didn't have the biggest pack, but those two guys stepped up big time, and they stood up against most of the teams out there. Yes, I think they got pummeled a little bit by South Africa, but yeah, for them, you cannot get to where they got into the World Cup without having a really decent set of forwards. And I thought no, nothing like that. I know it's a big call on my side, but yeah, like I said, my team. Then the next one, obviously, I took Frans Malherbe at tight head. I thought, look, Frans Malherbe, I gave him a lot of stick before the World Cup. I thought he was carrying too much weight. But yeah, the guy really has stepped up and exceptional. He had a great World Cup. Look, he's not going to be as dynamic in open play, but yeah, you know, the guy's just, when it comes to scrumming, the guy's really, really good. And yeah, can't go past that. Elwyn Jones, you know, I might have actually probably started. I should have maybe started Elwyn Jones because I think the guy's exceptional, really good as a captain, probably one of the best captains currently playing. Then my last forward off the bench, I've taken Sam Underhill. I just think Sam Underhill, look, everyone talks Tom Curry. I like Tom Curry. I've always liked Tom Curry. I just think Sam Underhill has that bit of mongrel in him that really, when it comes off the bench, I think he'd make more of an impact off the bench at a team like this than any of the other players out there. So yeah, for me, Sam Underhill, by far one of the best loose forwards, other one out there. Then I had to go with Roman Intermak as my backup fly half. I just think he is a star for the future, an absolute star for the future. You know what? Ultimate sharpshooter, I just imagine if Trevor wasn't injured, because I do think Trevor was the informed tight head that currently plays in South Africa, and I really like the way that he scrums. He's got such a great technique. But yeah, coming back to my fly half, I took Roman Intermak. I think the guy is a real star for the future, and I agree with Ultimate Sharpshooter. Wait till 2023. I think that French team is going to be immense, and they're going to be throwing so much money to try to win the 2023 World Cup. They've made so many finals, and they haven't got to a win. So yeah, that is my backup 10. I've gone my backup 9. I've gone Faf de Klerk. I thought he had an exceptional tournament, but yeah, he can be quite hit and miss, and sometimes some of the kicking wasn't that great. The kicking worked for us, but would it have worked for any other team? So I had to really look at that. Yeah, I must admit it was quite funny, but I've got my flag underpants in the mail, so I'm gonna wear them with absolute pride. Then my last player off the bench, I've taken Anton Linder-Brown. I think he is the ultimate off the bench player. You talk about lots of players. Coming off the bench. Frans Steyn bringing impact, but Anton Linder-Brown can play every single position, and he can play it really well. And for me, the inform super sub. Yeah, I agree. Frans Steyn is an exceptionally good player, but he's not Anton Linder-Brown. I'm sorry to say. So yeah, that's my team of the tournament. Yeah, Modern Bok, I see what you're saying. So yeah, what do you guys think of the team? I think it's a pretty decent team. I think could take on most countries fairly well. I wonder who'd be their coach. Okay, here's the idea: captain and coach. Let's look at this. If I looked at this team here, who would I choose as my captain? Captain and coach. I'm not a big fan of having captains in the backs, so captain's always in the front. I'd say of all those players there, I'd probably go with Dwayne Vermeulen. Would probably be my captain. I think I think he's got the most gravitas of the players there. I think, I'd probably say Dwayne Vermeulen. I think he could. For me, Michael Checker should be coach. Yeah, I know, but then they'd all be arguing, and then they'd be losing, and then they'd be hating everyone, and flipping hell, can't have that. So I'd probably go Dwayne Vermeulen as my captain, just because I think that's the way it should be. Coach. Okay, let's the successful coach from the Rugby World Cup. Okay, we've got to go with Rassie, let's be honest. Especially if the team's only just been made now, I'd have to go with Rassie. But if I was really, really, really wanting the most successful coach of all time, I'd probably take Steve Hansen. You can't go past the guy. The guy's an absolute genius. So Dwayne Vermeulen as my captain, Rassie as the coach. But that is my team for the tournament. And that's it. The World Cup is absolutely finished now, guys. I know we spoke about it on the weekend, and I thought absolutely wonderful. But I like my team. I think it's great. Please put your comments down below of what team you would think would be a little bit better than this. Jamie Joseph, actually excellent choice there, Danya. I think there's a lot been talking about him actually taking over from. I actually heard somewhere that somebody was saying that John Plumtree for Springbok coach. Jeepers. That would be. I'm not saying that's going to happen. You know, South African rugby's been here for a while, but there's talk of him somewhere in the mix. Could be quite interesting. I think, even though we're going for Nienaber if we went for Nienaber as coach, I want to know who's going to be our tech coach. Or are they going to promote? Who's the Irish guy? Joe, who's the Irish guy, man? You must know the name. Will they promote him as being a bit more of the attack coach? But we need a decent attack coach for the Springboks need an attack coach. But we've got an exceptional defense coach. I really do. I do think we have that. And if he becomes head coach, we're going to become a really defensively minded side. But I think we need a world class attack coach. That's exactly what we need. We've got the dog conditioning coach. We've got scrum coach. We've got almost all of them. And Felix. His name's Felix. Felix. I think it's Felix. Felix Jones. I don't know. Maybe they'll promote him to be the attack coach, because I know he's not the attack or the defense coach at the moment. He's just there to pick out holes and defenses. But I think he knows the system. He's very, very comfortable in the system, and maybe it's time to promote from within. And I think he'd be a great addition. Just something fresh. I agree. Matt Proudfoot, I saw an interview with Matt Proudfoot, and it was the most amazing interview. He was talking about why scrums and mauls are so important. And because, most people look at it and go, Scott Brits is head coach. I think Scott Brits is going to go make money now in the private sector. But I saw an interview with Matt Proudfoot, and he was talking about why scrums, mauls, and all of that are so important, is because it's the only way to concentrate players onto the field and open up defense. And it was quite an interesting way of thinking about it, because when you have a scrum, you've got 15 players all in the same, 16 players all in the same spot, and then you've got 7 players defending the rest of the field. And so the reason why you have a scrum is obviously to pull all your players in, and then it opens up the defense. And I thought that was quite a clever way of thinking about it, because most people look at it and they think, it's a set piece, whoopie ding dong. But if you start thinking of it as a way of opening space, then it's a completely different way of thinking about it. I think Campo. I think he's known who's going to be the head coach for the last 6 months. I think Rassie, he plans that far in the future, and he is going to be the director of rugby. I've got a feeling that he's going to be I think Rassie's going to get a lot more involved in the franchises. The problem in South African rugby is the Springboks are doing well, but now it's time to obviously start getting our franchises performing. especially our Pro 14 franchises. I'm sorry, guys, but if we continue having the Cheetahs and the Kings in a competition, we get beaten week in and week out. Those players that play in the Pro 14 know that South African sides aren't that great. They're going to have this confidence that they can always beat a South African side. And I'm sorry, there's no point in having a Kings side that doesn't perform. The other problem with the Kings is that it's not backed by a union. It's a franchise. Whereas if you look at the Stormers, if you look at the Cheetahs, they're all backed by a union. I think we need to sort out our Pro 14 sides drastically. I agree. I think the Cheetahs are the way to go. It is a real breeding ground for South African rugby. The Kings, I think there's too many. I'm not saying it's political or anything like that, but I think there's a lot of issues happening in the back room there at the Southern Kings. And I still honestly believe, look, the guys, they get the same amount of money as the Cheetahs. They get 60 million. Well, now they get 60 million rand. Same as the Cheetahs, same as the Bulls, everyone gets 60 million. That's the cap for a franchise. But I think the problem with the Southern Kings is it's not backed by a union. And the more it carries on like that they're not backed by a union like the Griquas or the Pumas or something like that, then they're never ever going to be doing well. But yeah, I think we can invest money in the Cheetahs, and then the other thing is getting our super franchises performing well. So when last did we actually win a Super Rugby competition? We've had we had the Lions in the finals, but I'm sorry, it's time for us to start winning this competition. And I think that's where Russ is going to be starting to invest a lot more heavily. I think the reason why New Zealand rugby does so well is yes, they all compete against each other, but ultimately, the end goal is the All Blacks. That's what it's all about. It's all about the All Blacks. Everything's geared towards the All Blacks. So if we can have the same defensive structure that Jock Niebuhr has and start having that filtered through to our Super Rugby sides, then it's a lot easier for those teams, for those players to go from the Super Rugby into the Super Rugby. I'm saying it like a verb. So going from Super Rugby into the thing. Actually, you know what? Ultimate Sharpshooter, I agree with you there. But I always thought the Sharks were the best on paper and they had the worst coaching. And I'm hoping that, I don't know who their new coach is going to be. I don't know why they haven't appointed them yet. But Robert Dupree wasn't my favorite coach. The Stormers have the best fan base. I'm actually I've made a commitment. I'm going to go watch the Bulls play at Newlands this year. Next year, I'm actually going to watch them play. But yeah, coming back to, because obviously I think Super Rugby is only at the end of January it starts. I think that's when it starts. So I put up a bit of a poll out there, which Northern Hemisphere competition I should follow. But I'm actually think I'm going to be dictated from the games I can actually watch. We get to watch. Generally, there's 3 Pro 14 games every weekend. And that's normally it's the Kings game, the Cheetahs game, and normally then we get to watch one of the other teams, and it could be Ospreys versus Connacht or whatever. So those are the only 3 games we get to watch every weekend. So it's always the Cheetahs, always the Kings, and I'm sorry, they're not teams that I support. So yeah, if I could get to watch Leinster games, I could go watch Munster games, then I'd probably get more into Pro 14, but we also get 3 Premiership games a weekend, or 2 to 3 Premiership games a weekend. All New Zealand Super Rugby sides are good. Cough, cough. Except the Blues. Yeah, I think the Blues have also got a problem with political infighting in the back room. I think there's more issues happening in the back that we don't know about. But yeah, so I'm thinking that a Premiership, there's 2 live games shown on the weekend, and then I can get to watch the games during the week. So I can actually go online and I can actually go watch them online through the Premiership website. So it's a couple of days after the live thing, but I can get to watch it. Plus, I can see all the highlights. So I think the Premiership is probably going to be the competition I'm going to have to support, not for any other reason that we just don't get the right kind of Pro 14 games. I know someone was suggesting that maybe I should just do the top teams from each of the things, and I think that's the best way to do it, but I just don't get all those games. And the problem is that I can't get all those. I can't go through a streaming service because SuperSport own all the rights to all the rugby in the country, and we just get blocked. We get blocked on the thing. So yeah, so I'm going to do Premiership, and obviously I'm always going to do. The only time I watch top 14 is when maybe Toulouse plays or one of the top sides. But yeah, you know, if you're into scrummaging for the whole side, then watch a bit of top 14. I could maybe do it through an Express VPN, but yeah, you know, I've also got to work, so, so I think I'm only going to do one. I think I'll just do one competition. So I'm going to do the Premiership. I think I'm going to follow that one. I'm going to choose my team now, Saracens. I've already chosen my team, Gloucester. So yeah, so that's my team I'm going to support in the Premiership. And obviously, we still follow the big competitions like, you know, the European Championship, which I honestly feel is the best competition out there. So yes, guys, I think that's going to be the show for tonight. So yeah, like I said, I'm going to send a mail out to Good for the Game. I just want to find out what time his show starts. I think it's at 8:30, and I really don't want to interfere with his show. You know, because I know a lot of people go watch his show and watch my show, so I don't want to give people an opportunity to go see both if they want. So yeah, guys, that's going to be that's the show for this week. I hope you really enjoyed my team for the Rugby World Cup. Let me just get rid of this here. Team for the World Cup, and yeah, like I said, I'm just going to do simple previews, reviews, my Super Brief scores, nothing fancy, and then I'll keep doing my Thursday show, just doing the news, because I like that fact. You know, I take all the news items for the week, and then we just have a quick discussion about it. But yeah, guys, an absolutely wonderful week. Hope you guys have an absolutely wonderful week, and looking forward to the coming weekend. I think it's going to be nice to get back into a bit of tribalism with your sides. You know, go get into Leinster and stuff like that. So yeah, guys, I hope you have an absolutely wonderful week. And if you go out there, just try to be kind to each other, and you know, everything will sort itself out once you kind to everyone. But listen, guys, have a great week. Chat soon. Cheers. Bye.